When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. Sunrise Thoughts, brought to you by 348 Select. On today's episode of Morning Brew, a Winning Routine, we are joined by Lenin Mangonyane, better known as Lenzo on a pencil, here to give us his insight on how to brew the perfect working environment for success. Lenzo is well known for being a visual communicator, DJ, a Wutiwari playlist, Mabula Sekele, tweet motivator. But what pays Lenzo is being a strategist for various creative firms. Thank you, Lenzo, for joining us today on Morning Brew, hosted by myself, Lwazima Donzel.
Lenzo Mangonyane, best described as a thinker, visual communicator, lover, and strategist and researcher by day. Alongside that, being a DJ and a visual communicator. And this basically started, these are all very different aspects, so they all started at different times. Me being a visual communicator probably started when I was around 18, 19. The strategist element of it, there was a whole research phase for it where I was working with different agencies when I was around 18 to 19, and that I was just doing different internships. And where it started officially is when I got into until where I was there permanently, where I found a place where I actually belong. So that was my start of it, which was probably 2 years back. Yeah, probably 2 years back or 3 years back. My formula has always been just learning first about things, learning about things and then finding your gap where when you get into a space, you being able to observe and seeing what's in the space, what can I offer into the space, or what's lacking in the space, or what does the space need, and then basically applying that to yourself and the way you see things in terms of how you want to make it better or how you want to make it different,
Groundwork, the most important part of any creative entrepreneur's journey. In order to lead to a progressive path, we need to emulate the process and not the end result. Lenzo's willingness to start pursuing his goal of being a strategist started fresh out of high school by interning, and not waiting until he got his degree. That being said, the path to success truly isn't the willingness to start even when you're least equipped. This is what has put Lenzo in a position of constant skill acquisition.
Just understanding things from a long-term point of view. This is even just in terms of who you're working with, what's their vision, and understanding their vision as well, and seeing if this thing is going to actually make sense in a year or two, or like even surpassing a year or two, so it's very key for me to look at things from that point of view. It has to be long-term as well, and that's also a part of my formula as well, so taking time to learn and seeing things from a long-term point of view. And then when it comes to staying driven, I think honestly it's a challenge, being driven, especially during like this time, but it's something that I'm also trying to figure out, because I know once I figure out how to stay driven, even in a time where things are at their lowest, I think that's when I'll be able to kind of be able to say, okay, this is how I stay driven, and I can constantly stay driven, but before this, I really do think I was more driven by like the future, I was more driven by the future solutions, and trying to be the person that's going to bring solutions, to our people, to the people who are doing what I'm doing, to the people of SA, to the people of Mzansi, So it's always been about that, creating solutions for the future for our people, and even just creating some sense of belief, so that they can believe that they can do it too, because I don't even I didn't think I was gonna be where I am, but I believed that I was gonna be here, but I didn't think it's possible, but I just believed it, so just giving that feeling to someone else and let them see it through you. I think that is something that is very key, and that's what kept me going for a very long time, is because I know there's someone watching, there's someone who has no hope, but they see it through me. So I think that's one of my power, my drivers,
Foresight and a relentless drive shapes who you become. It influences how far you can go. Once you understand how your current actions shape your future, make sure to plant seeds for tomorrow's harvest.
And as well, I just want people to also understand that things take time, People should know that things take time, and it won't always just happen overnight. And everything that you see, you don't know what people did or like what they do to get to that stage, So it's also really just being very strategic about what you do and how you're gonna execute it, So I think that's what drives me, and I hope people stay driven and try and find a way.
Thank you for listening to today's episode with Lenin Mangonyane. You can support the show by subscribing to our YouTube channel, 348 Select. The soundtrack for this series has been produced by Dubula. The show is recorded and edited by Msindisi Wesigo.